think the main thing I got out of that, learning about animation was how to be tenacious, how to recklessly go after things that are living in your heart and finding a way to make it happen. Giving has opened up so many doors in my career and life. Anything that was empowering people, that's what I wanted to help. And I think the theme of my story is the foundation of everything is passion and creativity. But also, who doesn't have it that we can bring it out of or help inspire that in? And where are they at where art normally isn't? That's the ultimate goal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Life to the Max podcast. This is going to be an interesting one. You will notice that this is not Jana Breslin. No. So I am proud to introduce our guest co-host for the evening. The amazing, the beautiful, the talented, the Chady Dunmore.
Thank you.
Notice how we just used the definitive article to describe your name.
You did.
The Chady. That's fine. I'm allowed to do that. So Jana's off sick tonight, so we wish her all the best and a speedy recovery. But we are here tonight in Sacramento at the Crest Theater, where we're about to participate, and we're going to lose our PG rating on this one. So just bear with us, guys. The Fuck Up Nights.
We can bleep that in post.
No, we don't want to.
Okay.
It's because that's the definitive article as well.
It's true. Live on the edge.
Living on the edge. Like Aerosmith, that's what we're doing here. So not only do we have an amazing guest co-host, but with that, I would like you to introduce our special guest for tonight's podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Put you on the hot seat.
No pressure.
So our guest today is David Garibaldi, who is, I personally think, the mascot of Sacramento.
Thank you.
As I blush introducing him.
No, why would you blush introducing just the mascot?
No, I don't make everyone blush.
Yeah. So the mascot of Sacramento, that's impressive, but why would you blush when you introduce the mascot of Sacramento?
Because I've had the biggest crush on him for like a couple of years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and she tells me every day, too, so.
He's also my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, which means this is about to get real. Very real.
It is. He is an amazing performance painter who has performed from the White House to tons of basketball halftime games, and he was on America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
And he's
and now I'm competing
talented.
for Chady's heart.
Yes.
He has my heart.
Yeah, clearly. Anyone who follows either one of these guys on Instagram, which we will put in the show notes, will know that it is. In fact, show us the bracelet. What does the bracelet say?
Oh, man, we were talking about this. So there's a camera right here. You guys are here now with us. We call this the Chavid camera. And her daughter, Sophia, who I love, made this bracelet for me that says Chavid. Now it's covered in paint now, but somewhere under there it says Chavid. So that's
which is a combination, obviously, of Chady and David.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's our boat name.
It's our hashtag.
It's a hashtag Chavid.
I mean, she dreams bigger than me. She's like, it's our boat name. I'm like, it's our hashtag. That's our level. That's why she inspires me on that level.
Do you know what my boat name is?
What's that?
In a meeting.
Elaborate.
Well, if anyone calls me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you.
I'm in a meeting. This guy.
You're not lying. Yeah, loophole.
Loophole. All right, so with the limited amount of time that we have, because there's so much that I want to uncover with you.
Yes.
As we talk about life to the max, as we talk about social responsibilities, we really talk about living your dreams. You have such an incredible backstory, and I'd love for our audience to kind of get, the 35,000-foot view of who Chavid is.
Yeah.
Minus the Chav.
Yeah.
So you're just the vid.
We'll get to the team part because I do feel more like we're a team now. But, I'm from Sacramento. This is my home. I grew up here. But from a young age, I was always creative. And I say that because that is who I am. It's part of my identity as a person, as an artist, as a father, is just being creative. And so, along with being into art growing up, and I was always drawing on everything, even if it was illegal at some point, but I was also into music.
I think the statute of limitations is
can we talk about, yeah, okay, we'll talk about that then.
Can we get legal on this one?
I wish there wasn't a lot of problems in my life. There's a statute of limitations for those. But, I also played music growing up, from third grade to high school, and there was these points of other, types of creativity that I didn't know how it was gonna play into my life like it does now. In high school, I was into graffiti, and then eventually I had an art teacher that taught animation that changed my life. Not just what he was teaching, but also why. and his philosophies behind it.
He's like, no, David, look, I don't want to change you. I just want to change why and where you create. And so at this transformational time of my life, when I went from being just this graffiti artist, failing all my grades, he transformed me into not only a little bit better of a student, but I knew now how much I wanted to pursue art as a career, which I never did before. And if it wasn't for him, I would not be standing on this stage in front of you. So I just want to establish how amazing and how important this person was, not only in my life, but also the lives we've been able to affect along the way.
I think the main thing I got out of that, learning about animation was how to be tenacious, how to recklessly go after things that are living in your heart and finding a way to make it happen. And so
Sounds a lot like passion.
yeah, it's all passion. And what's crazy about that time in my life, though, as highly creative as I was and still am, that time in high school, which I'm going to talk about later on stage, and we're going to see this later, was I did terribly academically. I was terrible in school and I was great in art, but I ended up not graduating high school. And so that kind of threw me through a loop because I thought I was going to go into this art career after high school, to art college, pursue being an animator, and that just was not the case. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that I didn't graduate because I probably wouldn't be sitting with you guys today. So I've always been creative, and I've always followed that with extreme passion, and it's led me to here. After high school, just a quick story. I'm sure we'll get more into it later, but I discovered this artist, Denny Dent, who I feel like started performance painting in the style that I do it. Saw his work. There was a couple people after him, and in 2003, I just started teaching myself this style of painting, which is creating portraits live on stage in front of an audience, but making it into an art experience. So it's like going to a concert. And fast forward, I do about 100 shows a year on average, all over the world. And I'm actually supposed to be at one right now, but thanks to the coronavirus, I get to be here. So,
well, we're not happy about the Michelob Ultra virus.
Yeah.
Yes. Coronavirus, but we're happy that you're
blessing
here.
in disguise.
Exactly.
This is the biggest blessing from it.
Absolutely. So, now you had a pretty impressive rise on a TV show that I think really kind of helped launch you as the amazing artist that we know about. So kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so leading up to that was in 2012, I would say, but from 2003 to then, that's about 8 years. I was just figuring out what I was doing. I was busy already and I was traveling, but I started getting really comfortable. Really comfortable with the paychecks, really comfortable with the style of painting that I was doing. It wasn't really challenging me up until that point. And so the way that the show works is the show calls you, a producer calls you and says, hey, we would like you to audition. So everyone does audition, but there is some behind the scenes stuff where they call you. And I remember telling them—
This is America's Got Talent,
This is America's Got Talent, yes. And I remember telling them, sure, I would love to do the show. All I need is 6 minutes to perform on stage. And they're like, you get 90 seconds. So I said, I think your phone cut out because I think you just told me I get a minute and a half because that's not what I need. I need like 6 times that. And they're like, no, you get a minute and a half like everyone else. So I thought, first challenge, not just doing the show and auditioning for this world-renowned show for tens of millions of people, but doing what I do in 90 seconds, giving myself the ultimate challenge. So I agreed without trying it, and that set me on this path, during this transition now from being extremely comfortable to uncomfortable. And I had 3 months until we did the first audition. So for 3 months, I failed every day going into my studio. And it was, I can get the painting done in time, but it just looked horrible. Or if I had a great time doing it, it was entertaining, painting didn't look good. Or if it looked good, it was taking too long. So I just had to keep going back. And eventually, about 2 weeks before the audition, I cracked the code. And part of that was I brought these 4 dancers in, and we choreographed this chaos to throw paint while I was going to get paint and smearing it and moving it around. And then eventually we did the first audition like everyone else. We didn't necessarily wait in line, but we still auditioned like everyone else. And I remember being backstage, telling my team, these 4 guys, I'm like, look, I don't know what's gonna happen out there. I know we practiced, I know we worked hard, but whether we go forward or not, just be comfortable knowing we're doing something that's never been done at all. And right now in this world, this is not being done anywhere. So at least take pride in that, what we worked for, what we're creating. We went out there, got a standing ovation, and we were off running, from that point on.
And so that was the 2012 show, right?
That was in 2012, and we eventually went to the finals. I came in 4th place. I think Chady was actually voting for the dogs who won. So I'm not bitter at all. I think she was, yeah. So I lost to the dog.
I feel like we're gonna uncover a little bit of that later.
It's cool. It's
Do you want to switch seats right now? Should we switch seats?
Can we turn this into a couch, actually? This is just some therapy session. Yeah.
Lay down and tell us about your mother.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that one. Now, you and I kind of first met through a company where I was sponsoring some of what you've done post-show, which has been this incredible rise. So you got to travel not just the country, but the world with Kiss.
Yeah.
Like, tell us about that. That's got to be crazy.
Yeah, so that's the band, not the chocolate. And
that would be weird.
That would be actually interesting. I'm up for it. I'm up for these challenges. A little over a year ago, we got a call from my agent. My agent got a call about possibly doing only 10 shows to open up for Kiss, which that alone was huge. And then 10 shows turned into 40 plus, touring North America, and that turned into Europe and so on. And when we came back to North America, yes, the company that you'd worked with sponsored us to be able to share content. And, that was so interesting because I remember when we first shared it online, the Kiss Army, and I love them now, but when I first shared it, they hated the fact that a painter like myself was opening up for this iconic band on their last tour ever. Like, I would be a little pissed off too.
Yeah?
I'd be a little pissed off.
Well, it's not, it's like, I was at the Rolling Stones concert in San Francisco last year, and the same thing. It's like, you expect like a local band or some big band to open up for the Stones or Kiss, and, it's definitely a switch.
What did they have?
Oh God, I don't even remember. It was.
Honestly, it's a iconic rock band, and then it's like saying, okay, this 7th degree black belt guys are to do a presentation, martial arts. Enjoy yourself, guys.
Yeah,
he's gonna chop wood.
Yeah,
but I would say this is what's interesting though about Kiss and their fans, which I learned. I think why we became so close over time, is when Kiss came out, they were disruptors. Mm-hmm. And imagine late 70s, these guys that were painting their faces like no one else, with the antics on stage like no one else. So you either loved them or hated them. And so they immediately divided the pool, and the people who are up for this new extreme entertainment gravitated towards them, and they built their career on that. And so here they are disrupting again, saying like, F it, like let's throw this painter out there. They liked me, and we didn't know how the audience was going to react, but it ended up being really, really awesome.
And it was so much fun to follow you on that journey. It's like, opening for Kiss, so like hanging out with Kiss, you're like, and granted, these are not, dare I say, spring chickens anymore, but they're still out rocking.
You know what? I would say they're not, but they are killing it.
They are killing it.
I mean, they're doing, last year they did, over 100 shows, I think, or...
And what are their ages?
Yeah, so they're late 60s.
Yeah.
Gene Simmons is 70. He turned 70 on
must be
tour.
on stem cells.
He's got to be on stem cells.
Or some good B12 shots. I don't know. But I'll say this, they don't drink. There's no drugs. It was like it was like being on like sober camp for them, not for me. I had some drinks, but
it's like yoga every morning and
backstage. It felt like more like a corporate traveling show. It was not what I had expected from a rock and roll touring show, and I'm sure she was happy with that too.
Yeah, I felt very comfortable.
And she had,
not a lot of groupies backstage.
None.
No, there's a lot of groupies, but there were a lot of groupies, but it was a different type of. They're business oriented. They're there to do a job.
Yeah.
They love their fans, and there's no like fishy stuff going backstage. And that was really nice to see as a girlfriend who's watching it. We're in a new relationship, and he's like, I just booked Kiss and I'm off, and I'm like, okay, well that was nice. I'll see you later. Bye.
Yeah, because we had started dating in August 8th, so that was our anniversary of 2018, and then I'm gone on tour January, end of January 2019. So
For 9 months.
Yeah, for 9.5 months. And I mean,
It's like military deployment.
that was, so not
Yeah.
only am I being tested professionally, I'm being tested personally as well, like every day with our relationship
And obviously as a father, right?
and then
Yeah.
there's that. I mean, I'm a father to 2 amazing kids who are 7 and 9 now. And being there for them when I'm off tour, being home, doing the theater and gymnastics runs, and then I'm off again. So I never experienced that level of touring. I do a lot of shows, but not being gone for months at a time. That was
Was that hard?
extremely
was
hard.
grueling.
Yeah,
It was grueling for
for
everyone.
sure. I dreamt about touring like that for years. That's why I went on America's Got Talent too. I wanted to build my brand as a painter to get to the point where I can tour like a band. And so we actually had another tour planned, and then we canceled that to do the Kiss tour, and we started doing it. I'm like, wow, this is it. And now we're doing it. And then you realize that, wow, this is the stuff that's really hard that no one talks about, you don't know, which is, it's hard on the family, it's hard on relationships. It's expensive to do it. And so it was a great learning experience. Would I do it again? Yes, because I learned a lot from it. But yeah, it was one of our biggest challenges.
You also were in Vegas. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you mean the residency? Yeah, so right after America's Got Talent, they were trying to get me to do Vegas right away, which I was able to get out of that. And so I had a few months off to just go travel the world. And then the following, 3 months, which is January after the show, I did a residency at the Palazzo with America's Got Talent. So we were doing 6 shows a week.
Oh, wow.
And then on my days off, or days that we couldn't get out of contracts before, I would be on a plane flying to God knows where to go do a show, turn around and come back and do the show. So I was, if you can imagine, for 3 months straight, I was working. And I know there's a lot of workaholics out there, but I was contractually obligated to show up. You can't call in sick for a Vegas show. And there was many, many days where I just missed my family. My kids weren't out there, and my family wasn't out there, and none of my friends. So I think the one thing that got me through was I don't partake in drugs or anything like that. I had enjoyed my drinking, but I don't gamble. And so I think there was things that I kept this filter of what's gonna help me here, and that was trying to stay as healthy as I could through that process.
Nice.
But that was, again, I think the theme of my story, again, going back to that 35,000 foot view, is the foundation of everything is passion and creativity, but also who doesn't have it that we can bring it out of or help inspire that in, and where are they at where art normally isn't? That's the ultimate goal.
So what I would say to at-risk youth is I would share my journey. I would share how difficult. Imagine for at least 6 to 7 years of extreme struggle of trying to get this going. I would not wish that on anyone. And I'm only here today because of the mentors like Sullivan and my parents and the amazing people in my life. Knowing that they may not have that, what they do have though is time, and which I don't have. And I would probably encourage them to somehow use that. So.
Well, and that is a perfect segue, and I think that you just kind of embodied what Life to the Max is about. Is how do we inspire that passion for people to come out of their shell to live a life less ordinary?
Yeah.
And so, with that in mind, I would love to talk a lot about some of the charity work that you've done, and really what inspires you outside of the painting and being on stage. Because I think you're doing some phenomenal work with some charities that really need a lot more attention.
Yes. Yeah. Giving has opened up so many doors in my career and life. And as an artist, most artists are pushing just to get themselves out there. And what I found was when I was 25, I realized that I have this unique talent to take a few $100s of materials, turn it into tens of thousands of dollars for a charity. I thought, let's do this to the max. And so I set a goal originally.
Nice word usage.
Thank you.
A shameless plug for you. I set a goal at 30 to raise $1 million for various nonprofits through my performances. And so I was 25, I had 5 years to do that. And the charities range from Special Olympics to California Police Youth Charities, women's empowerment programs. I mean, you name it. I was like, how can we help? Anything that was empowering people. That's what I wanted to help. And we met that goal before I turned 30. And we've since raised almost $7 million now. So just last year alone on the KISS tour, that opportunity opened up because of Chady. They could have had any bands, but they knew that what I did, there was a value left behind. And so each night, the last painting of the 3 was of the band. I would take it backstage, the band would sign it, and the audience would bid on it. So we raised a little over $700,000.
That's incredible.
Throughout the year, mostly benefiting Make-A-Wish Foundation, but a lot of other great organizations around the country, like veterans and children's charities. Again, charities that were empowering people. And we get to do that through this tool of creativity that changed my life. So it's just, I think for me, I don't know where it comes from. I get these creative ideas. I try to stay in that flow by creating, but I still don't know. So there's this part of me that feels like I do owe the world something because of that. So the best way I can do that is to give.
You know, I dare quote Spider-Man, but I guess with great power comes great responsibility.
It's very relevant, yeah.
And you're not Spider-Man, but you are human. And I want to, what keeps you grounded besides having a very needy girlfriend?
Amazing girlfriend.
You have
I
kids.
feel like I feel like we're watching a Telemundo soap opera.
Yeah. Just go pour yourself some wine and come back.
I think it's important for people who are listening. What is it like? Because life to the max, it's like living life to the fullest.
Yeah.
You are you're meeting all your potential to live your life to the fullest. But what keeps you going? Because you are human and you're not like, and I'm talking wellness, health and wellness. Like you have to mentally like ground yourself where you're like, I need to work out. I need to. So what is that for you?
So early on, I realized that intent and purpose behind what I was doing so passionately was going to be the filter for all my decisions. And that changes throughout seasons. So when I first started doing the charity stuff, the purpose was I want to use my platform to help people. And so the filter became, all right, where do we do shows? Who do we give to? What organizations can we partner with? As time goes on, my intent and purpose is now family, more so than it has ever been before, which is, I don't want to take that show because it's going to take me away from not being there for my daughter's play, which is coming up this Friday. And I adjusted my schedule. Just this past weekend, I changed my flights around and hotels and had a driver take me out there just to be at my son's gymnastics meet on a Sunday morning. And so these are the things now, family and my relationships, which are the purpose and intent. Now, we can all choose what that is, and I feel like our life will reflect that, whether you've chosen it or not. I feel like, I don't get very stressed out about things. I mean, you could probably attest to that. I don't freak out a lot, as much as things change constantly, because my bigger purpose and intent filters out what's really worth my energy. And so in this season, it really is family relationships and my community, here in Sacramento.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I grew up in Sacramento and I stayed in Sacramento. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons why it's so easy to just stay grounded. Home is Sacramento. And I didn't have the chance to have to act in a certain way. It was just, I feel like this is my family. And we're all learning and fucking up together and being hopefully winning together as well. And, but my family's important. My kids are, all of my life and my amazing girlfriend, our relationship. So it's just family, it's staying home here. And I do get to travel, see the world. It reminds me how amazing home is. So.
The great questions. I want to get into some of the fun stuff about this because I watch you, and you guys are going to see clips on this, as we're doing this interview, but you are a freaking mess when you're done painting. So,
and this is a little weird being clean.
Yeah,
right now.
Like you said, clean on stage without music. It's surrealistic. So the first question that I have to ask is, where do all of the clothes go? like I'm just curious. Like, do you have like a giant closet full of just painted clothes? Is that it?
Did my mom give you that question?
No, but I think it's a logical one.
Yeah. Oh man, I have so many clothes that have paint on them. It's a problem.
I do too.
She has a series of clothes now.
The dog has paint on his paws.
Oh my God, it is a storage problem. And honestly, at some point, I'm probably gonna sell them off. I don't know to what charity is gonna benefit from dirty clothes, but I've got pallets of shoes, I've got a closet dedicated in my house of just, and it's packed to the brim. I mean, when I open it up, I'm like stuffing things inside. It is, I ended up having to shop a lot, or have a guy now locally that makes my show jackets. So we kind of get ahead of it, like, all right, I can only get so many shows out of this jacket. Let's have one ready. But I don't just have a big pile of clothes everywhere. Everywhere.
Everywhere.
A lot of people ask that question.
Yeah.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has piles.
I have piles. Yeah, it's a problem.
So how many paintings have you done so far?
Well, you know what? You're great with numbers, right? So I'll throw out the scenario. Maybe you can add it up real quick.
Okay.
All right. So I do about 100 shows a year.
Okay.
On average, let's just say I do 3 paintings on average.
Per show.
Some with 1, some with 4.
Okay.
Say 3.
So 300 paintings so far.
And I've been doing that probably at that level for 17 years.
So we're about 30,000
Even when
paintings?
I started. Is that how many? Wow. Let's go on a conservative end and just, you said 30,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go on a conservative end and just say 20, which is still crazy. I don't even, yeah, that's crazy. I think I passed
No, hold on. I added
too,
a 0 to that.
Also, too, no,
3,000?
let's also, too, you do a lot of commission paintings,
Yes.
and he does gifts.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. So, I mean, yeah, but what is the number?
Well, no, I think it'd be closer to 6,000.
6,000, that's still.
That's still
I
an
was gonna say
insane
that.
amount.
He's like 30,000.
I'm like, I would be so buff. I'm like, this does not look like 30,000 painting arms right here. This is more like 6,000 painting arms.
When he walked in the thing, he hugged me, and like I think I broke a rib.
Stop.
Yeah, that was a paintbrush.
You're just happy to see me.
Maybe both.
That's how we roll around here.
You guys.
But yeah, I know it's thousands of paintings I have, and that's another storage problem. Is just there are all these paintings rolled up, and not all of them are great. And here's the great thing is, you know, every painting. So actually, the one image I do the most is Einstein. I've done it since the beginning, and I still do it now with the same love and passion. It's just like
Why is that?
Well, think about it. A musician creates a song, it goes popular early in their career, and if you know, God allows them to have this long career, and
That's the go-to.
they're
That's
blessed with it, then they're like,
Yeah.
you always got to sing that. Well, that's become my go-to. But what I do is I adjust the quality of it over time. So I always look at every painting after I'm done, and I'm like, how can I adjust this now? Where can I add more depth and shadow? And if you looked at those paintings early on, they're not great, but it's a result of how far we've come too, and how far I've come of just every time just adjust a little bit more. And that goes to show for every painting that I do now. And I just now think about, I can't wait till 10 years from now. That's why I don't want to stop, because if the quality's changed that much in 17 years, what will it be like 10 years and so on from there? So,
You know, I think that comes back to something you said earlier, and that's just a reflective of this idea that you just never stop. Like, it's, you know, your life is constantly reevaluating, changing your priorities, changing your intention, and as such, you know, your art is only going to continue to get better.
yeah, I think that, you know, most of us, when we start companies or when we start new journeys or goals, it's really hard to create momentum. That's just getting up in the morning to go to the gym sometimes that's a micro level of creating momentum. And so when you get that momentum going, and then you're dealing with problems or challenges that come with that momentum, I think that you accept them more, you're ready for them more, because like, look, we started this, and we knew how hard it was to get it going. And now that we're going, and this momentum has brought us to this speed and this level, challenges don't seem as much of a big deal anymore, as in, I want to take them on, and I want to keep going. And you're right, I'll keep going until the train's off the tracks, but in a way that, like, let's grease these wheels and let's make some adjustments as well, so that we can stay healthy on this track.
That's fantastic.
Tell us more about your charity.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So as much as we've been able to help charities, I was inspired by my high school art teacher to actually partner with him to start our own a few years ago.
And so this day, we actually ended up launching a nonprofit called Creator X. And this was after we had announced it. And it was because of this fuck up, and this is really the lesson from it, is, you know, how do we help others that have been in similar situations? And so that, one, they don't have to lie, and just being honest. But also too, how do we help people that are in similar situations where are young creators and that don't end up going to college?
So in this animation program in high school, it was very unique. It taught us this, skills in arts, media, entertainment, which is one of the largest job sectors in the state of California. And I thought, how cool would it be to inspire other students to be career ready out of high school? So we started a nonprofit called Creator X 3 years ago to multiply creators through not only education, but also the inspiration of career paths that you could take. So in arts, media, entertainment, there's, everything from the people who set up these cameras to the people who are going to add the subtitles to the show producers who are in bigger sets like this, and the people behind the scenes who are not just on camera. And
so it's not just for people who are painting or drawing. It's
correct.
So many levels.
It is for them, but it's also for so much more that is involved. Arts and entertainment. So we do a summer camp every summer. It's like over 3 days. We bring our friends from the industry. Our teachers for the camp for these high school kids are from Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, and so on.
Wow.
Fantastic.
And then we open and close each day with an inspiring keynote. So it's like these students are going to a creative tech conference that's hopefully inspiring them to go on some sort of career path to pursue the arts at a high level, or at least starting right out of high school. And then focusing on, having an intent and filter and thinking, okay, if I'm gonna go get into college debt, what's the best way to leverage that in something that I'm focused on, that I'm like, I want to focus on this particular skill set. I just imagine kids that came from where I came from. I was doing graffiti. I had a teacher that changed my life. I want to be that for them. Just change perspective, and it changed everything.
And the camps are based in Sacramento.
Yes.
And do you ever have a dream to expand that in the U.S.?
Yeah. There's a lot of large-scale goals with Creator X. From growing the camp to a conference, I would say first and foremost. While that's going, it's really become more of a leadership program that can be applied to from, say, middle school, high school, sort of on the level of, say, FFA, Future Farmers of America. They're in most high schools across the country. But there's a leadership that they teach them through agriculture. We want to teach leadership through creativity. And I see that's where Creator X is going for the future as we grow, as we start over the camp, conference, and becoming a leadership tool.
That's fantastic.
Very cool.
It really reminds me of the 60s, right? John F. Kennedy says we're going to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade. He didn't know how. Nobody knew how. But in that decade, he inspired some of the greatest artists, engineers, scientists, of any generation. And to that extent, I'm like, that's kind of what I feel like you're doing.
I would say that's a great analogy, because he's inspired by space. He loves astronauts. He's so a lot of his artwork that inspires him is just.
Well, we've stopped reaching, and that's one of the things that, I was so excited to interview you as part of the Life to the Max platform. That's what we want to do, is inspire the reach. It's for so long, we've been complacent, and it's time for our grasp to exceed our reach again.
Yeah.
So thank you for all of that.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, how do our viewers help your charity?
Yes, so if you visit creatorx.org, there's more information. Just go learn about it first. And if it's something that you feel like you believe in or that you want to get behind, we will have different fundraising opportunities throughout the year, whether it's to donate a small amount to win a painting, or whether it's a fundraising gala that we may have, or even a donate button. So I would say the first thing is just go learn about Creator X and see what our goals are, and then just follow the journey as well to support.
Cool. And we're definitely going to put your information in the show notes, because we want to continue to follow your journey.
Yes, thank you.
And see where all of this goes.
Yes, thank you.
I guess as guest co-host and guest girlfriend, normal girlfriend, guest co-host.
Definitely not the guest girlfriend.
Is there anything else you want to ask?
What's next?
You've got him on the hot seat.
I know,
What's next for you? No one asks us that.
I've been working on my TikTok lately. Probably a little too much.
Tell the followers how many followers you have.
So you can follow me everywhere at Garibaldi Arts. And I set up my TikTok a few months ago, And I was, just like anyone else, like posting stuff, doing the dances on there. Her daughter was teaching us like these like renegade dances.
She didn't want us at all to get on TikTok. She didn't teach us for a little bit, but he figured it out.
I like being thrown into something.
He likes the challenge.
Let's find the hack. Let's find out, and then put stuff out that doesn't work. I put a lot of stuff on there that I ended up deleting. I'm like, this isn't working. And then about a month, actually not even that. Within the last month, I got up to 1 million followers on TikTok.
Yes.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so now I'm like at, we're working on 1.1 right now. But so I'm thinking, and all these, and here's the crazy part is, I haven't had my studio set up yet. We're moving in now, so this is not brand new content that I'm sitting there every day making. I'm repurposing content that we've made over the past 5 years.
And 1 million viewers on TikTok.
Yeah.
There's 1 million followers. So there's a lot more viewers. So there's a video that got up to 56 million views.
Yeah.
And everything under that, if you can imagine, the 2 million, 3 million, so on. So now I think the common thing here is, where can we bring art that it's not? And so there's art on TikTok, but not like this. And it's a new way to inspire young creators and to encourage them. I love responding to them because they're like, oh my God, you just inspired me to start drawing again. I'm like, that's why I'm here.
That's
and
awesome.
they're like, why don't you verify it? I'm like, I don't care, but you're here, and that's what matters. And I really genuinely love responding to comments that are positive, encouraging, because I can imagine, I saw Denny Dent's painting, didn't even see video, and it changed my life. I wanted to learn how to do that. So now imagine kids growing up and they have the access to all this media of possibilities. At some point it is kind of noisy. And you're like, I can't choose. So Creator X steps in, and I can't wait to introduce Creator X on TikTok at some point to help them focus and help them with their journeys on there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
so cool.
Follow at
apparently now I
Garibaldi.
gotta get TikTok. Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll teach them some dances.
It's fun. It's actually a cool platform for kids, because I don't remember having anything to visually see something where you have to be creative in order to get views and likes, where it's not just a picture. No offense, but in our generation, MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, and now you have TikTok. TikTok is like, it's all about creativity.
Yeah. I
like
and
that.
it's actually fun and innovative, and it's a great platform for the younger generation. I personally feel, even though,
Well, keep in mind, there's an over 30 hashtag.
Yes.
And there's a ton of content for like parents on there.
Yeah.
What about the over 40 hashtag?
Well, I was gonna, you look so young though. I was gonna say,
what are you talking about? You over
you're like,
40?
23 maybe?
Yeah, I'm over 40.
He's like, no, I'm on the kids hashtags.
And I act like I'm 12.
And
but I'm
there's,
actually
and
over
there's
40.
over 40 hashtags. And again,
there
the
is a lot of
beauty
older people.
of this, there's I think hundreds of millions of users on that app.
Yeah.
And you go to these hashtags, and you find your tribe.
Yeah.
I'm in this art world, and that's my tribe. And there's people that come in from other worlds, but I found that tribe. And so even on TikTok, again, you're still required to be creative, no matter who you are or what you do. I see truck drivers on there, and they're sharing these funny stories about truck, and that's all it is. Millions of followers.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because they're creative.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Very
all right,
cool.
well, we're gonna have to get to TikTok.
Yeah.
So I guess the only other question that I have, we're all about first on Life to the Max, and obviously with your relationship, I was just wondering, are we gonna have a first proposal on the show?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
I was just curious. I had to throw that out there.
You
You didn't ask
I'm
any
like,
hot seat questions,
I don't even
so I
look
had to
at
do it.
I know. Wow. Oh, time's up.
So,
I hate you, Ghost.
yeah, I figured I was gonna get a stinker on that one. David, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting me interview you.
You know what? You have an amazing co-host here. I just want to compliment
What's
you on
crazy
your
is that
co-hosting
we didn't get to tell where I'm from. Everybody's like, who's this girl? Like all of a sudden
don't worry.
taking Jana.
Don't worry.
Yeah. So me and Evan worked together, and it's a long story, but he'll explain.
You're gonna get the story in a little bit. So,
This is my spotlight right now.
They're like, why is she there in between them?
we're gonna introduce Chady a lot more in
Yes.
some of the upcoming episodes. We're actually gonna be seeing a lot more of her on the Life to the Max platform. There's some exciting things coming out, which we can't wait to share with you guys. So these guys are gonna be an integral part of that moving forward. Until that time, I wanna thank David. I wanna thank our incredible guest co-host, Chady. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to rate this thing on iTunes or wherever it is that you listen to your podcast. Check it out on YouTube, share this. Anything that you can do to help spread the Life to the Max message, we would greatly appreciate it. And until next week, see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.